Now we all seen Samsung's Premier tablets. No, not those other Premier tablets that came out just a few months ago. These are the new Premier tablets. This is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S, the 10.5 model. And it's kind of funny because Samsung came out with flagship tablets supposedly just back in January. Here we are in June and we've already got new flagship tablets for the same year. At first glance you might say to yourself, this looks a little bit like a giant S5 because it has the same perforated back. It's got a bunch of dimples in the back. This material is a little bit softer to touch than we saw with the S5, but it's the same concept and it still feels nice, smooth, not bothersome at all. And when you look at the rest of the design, this is incredibly thin. It's actually thinner than all of the phones that I have in my pocket. It's only 6.6 millimeters thin. Very good, a big accomplishment for them. It's also incredibly light. I can hold this with one hand and it feels not as light as some of my phones, but not that far off from some of the Mondo phones that we've seen in recent times. It weighs only 465 grams. Very big accomplishment from Samsung in terms of design. But the real reason that you're going to pay attention to this is the display. This is the first high-res Super AMOLED display that Samsung has created for any tablet. Actually, I believe this is the first tablet from anyone, much less just Samsung. But don't quote me on that. When you look at it, this is a 10.5-inch display with a WQXGA resolution. That's about 2560 by 1600 or 288 pixels per inch. It looks pretty darn good. When you look at certain items, for instance, they've got this new ebook and magazine reader that they're calling paper or something. Let me double check the name so I can tell you. It is, don't show again. It is Paper Gallery. That's what I was called. So when I go back to the home button, you see I'm in the magazine layout. This is kind of what Samsung is going for. They're trying to attract you because this is really the only reason that you would care. It has the same software that we saw with the Pro tablets that came out a few months ago, but it's been updated a little bit. This is Android, obviously, with TouchWiz infused in it, but they've got some new things. So instead of just a standard My Magazine, you now have what they call Content Home. This is pretty much your hub for everything. On the left-hand side, you see I've got my calendar reminders, missed calls, everything. And now, with regards to missed calls, this is going to be market-specific. You can place telephone calls if you're outside of the U.S. But there's also something called Side Sync, that if you're within the U.S., you can actually pair it to your phone. So if your phone is at your desk and you're on the couch and the phone rings, you don't want to get up, and you have the tablet nearby, you can actually answer the phone ringing from you can actually answer the call on your tablet instead of getting up to get to your phone. That's called Side Sync, and it's one of the remote features that Samsung has. They also have features to connect it to your TV, obviously, which is Samsung Watch On, and they've got some other connectivity features depending on which model you get. One of the really impressive things about it is they have the fingerprint scanner at the bottom, which we saw with the Galaxy S5. So if you have some things that you want to keep private, you can lock them away to privacy mode, or if you just want to keep the entire tablet locked away, you can set it to only unlock when your fingerprint is what scans. The interesting thing here is that you can actually scan up to 8 people. So if you share your tablet with your wife, your husband, 3 of your kids, you've got 5 people using the same tablet essentially. All of you can have your own private area on the device, which is pretty impressive. In terms of the final specs, it has a 1.9 gigahertz quad-core processor and another 1.3 gigahertz quad-core processor. It's an octa-core. It's pairing 2 sets of quad-core processors. It's 3 gigs of RAM, 16 gigabytes or 32 gigabytes of internal memory, 128 gigabytes of external memory, and a 7900 milliamp battery. You can actually watch a video on this thing for 11 hours, 1080p, and not run out of time. And of course, watching video is going to be something that you're going to do a lot of. When you've got a screen of this size, of this quality, you're going to be attracted to it, consuming a lot of content. And that's pretty much what Samsung is banking on. They're hoping that everyone who buys this tablet is buying it because they want to watch a bunch of movies, because they want to read a bunch of magazines. At first glance, it looks good, obviously. When we've seen tablets at this size, it's not always as nice, but of course, we're going to take a closer look at it and come back with more information at another time. But this is Andrew with mobileburn.com, looking at the Android 4.4 KitKat powered Samsung Galaxy Tab S. This is the 10.5 model. There's also an 8.4 model, which is pretty much the same thing, except it has an even higher resolution because it's the same, even higher pixel per inch count, I should say, because it's the same resolution in a condensed space. Until next time, thanks for watching.